activity in Chapter 3. Let's start. Instruction. Drag the protocol or standard to this TCP or IP layer name as described. Application. I think POP is application. Also the SMTP. DNS BOOTP. DHCP IMAP HTTP and FTP. Transport. TCP and UDP is the example of transport. There are 4 examples of internet, and they are IP, OSPF, EIGRP, and ICMP. And the network access are Ethernet and Internet drivers. So let's check if my answer are all correct, and all of them are correct. I am going to discuss all of them. DNS or domain name servers are the internet's equivalent of a phone book. The Bootstrap protocol or BOOTP is a computer networking protocol used in internet. Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol or DHCP is a network protocol that enables a server to automatically assign an IP address to a computer from a defined range of numbers configured for a given network. Simple Main Transfer Protocol or SMTP is a protocol for sending email messages between servers. Post Office Protocol or POP is a type of computer network and internet standard protocol that extracts and retrieves email from a remote mail server for access by the host machine. IMAP or Internet Message Access Protocol is a standard email protocol that stores email messages on a mail server, but allows the end user to view and manipulate the messages as though they were stored locally on the end user computing devices. FTP is an acronym for File Transfer Protocol. As the name suggests, FTP is used to transfer files between computers on a network. TFTP or Trivial File Transfer Protocol is a simple protocol used for transferring files. HTTP is the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Is a system by which computers talk to each other across the World Wide Web. The example of transport are TCP and UDP. UDP is User Datagram Protocol. It is an alternative communication protocol to transmission. And Transmission Control Protocol is used primarily for establishing low latency and thus tolerating connection between applications on the internet. The purpose was to allow computers to communicate over long distances network. The example of IP are IP, OSPF, IGRP, and ICMP. An IP protocol, Internet Protocol, is a numerical label assigned to each device connected to a computer network that uses the Internet Protocol for communication. The ICMP is a network layer protocol that provides troubleshooting, control, and error messages services. It is the Internet Control Message Protocol. OSPF routers connect network using the Internet Protocol, and OSPF or Open Shortest Path First is a router protocol used to find the best spot for packets as they pass through a set of connected networks. Network access. The Ethernet. Ethernet is a traditional technology for connecting wired local area networks, enabling devices to communicate with each other via a protocol, a set of rules for our common network language. A driver provides a software interface to hardware device, enabling operating system and other computers program to access hardware function without needing to know precise details about the hardware being used. This is the second activity in chapter 3. So let's start. The instruction is drag the OSI layer to its functional description. Segments transfer and resemble data. This is transferred. Exchanges frames between devices. I think this is data link. Contains protocols used for process-to-process communication. This is application. Provides a data path or route. This is network. Bit transmission. This is physical. Let's check if my answer is all correct. All of them are correct, so I will discuss. This. This is the 7 layers of OSI model. First is the application layer, enables the user to interact with the application or network whenever the user elects to read messages, transfer files, or perform other network-related activities. The presentation layer translates or formats data for the application layer based on the semantics or syntax that the application accepts. The session layer set up, coordinate, and terminates conversation between application. The transfer layer is responsible for transferring data. The network layer primary function is to move data into and through the other networks. The data link layer is a protocol layer in a program. The data link layer, the protocol layer in a program that handles the moving of data into and out of physical link in a network. The physical layer transports data using electrical, mechanical, or procedural interface. This is the third activity in chapter 3. So let's start. Instruction. Drag the PDU to the appropriate place in the stack to illustrate the order of the encapsulation process. This is data, segments, packets, frames, and bits. Let's check if my answer is correct, and all of them is correct. I will explain this activity. Data encapsulation, also known as data hiding, is the mechanism whereby the implementation details of a class are kept hiding from the user. Encapsulation or decapsulation. The steps of encapsulation are upper layer, convert the message to data and set into the transferred layer. The transferred layer converts the data to segments and send it down to the network layer. The packet is the basic unit of information transferred across a network, consisting at a minimum of a header with the sending and receiving host address and a body with the data to be transferred. When referring to a network, encapsulation is the process of taking data from one protocol and translating it into another protocol. Encapsulation takes information from a higher layer and adds a header to it, treating the higher layer information as data. Data segments Packets, frames, and bits are example of protocol data units.